ಈಗ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಈಗ.
Right, 7 p.m. sir, we'll start. A very good evening to one and all. I heartily welcome all the members of API, KCSI and other members of various organizations who have joined virtually from all over the country to attend this program on World Heart Day. Ideally, 29 September is celebrated as World Heart Day, but we are doing one day before as too many programs and conferences were scheduled on 29th, hence thought of doing early to learn from the esteemed faculty. On this occasion, I welcome Dr. P.S. Shankar, Professor Emeritus RGHS and KBN University Gulbarga, Dr. Muruganathan, past Governor ACP India Chapter and past Dean and past President of API. I also welcome our own committee members, our patron Dr. Maya, Dr. Murali Mohan, Chairman API Karnataka, Dr. Vishwanath, Secretary, Dr. Ravi Kirti, Central API Member, and Dr. B.K. Mahala, Chairman KCSI, and Dr. Puneet Verma, Secretary. I welcome our today's chief guest, Dr. P.C. Rath, President National CSI, Apollo Hospitals, Hyderabad, a great academician and interventional cardiologist. I also welcome our today's speaker, Padma Shri Dr. K.M. Cherian, so-called the father of cardiac surgery in the country and abroad. His profile will take more than an hour to read. A great academician, researcher, scholar, received innumerable awards, both national and international levels. I also welcome our today's moderator, Dr. Professor Manoria from Bhopal, the past president of National CSI and API, a great teacher par excellence, loved by all to hear and learn from him. I also welcome our own faculty, Dr. Vivek Javli, a dynamic cardiac surgeon from Bangalore, a great name in the field of cardiac surgery, both at national and international. He is a teacher of teachers, training young surgeons all over the globe. I also welcome Professor Dr. Nagaraj Desai, senior most cardiologist from Bangalore. His passion for teaching and a great academician, a researcher and trainer for young cardiologists. Let us not waste time by reading their profile. Let us learn and hear from them. As I can see, many have joined from many states all over the country, making a national event, which COVID-19 pandemic has taught a new normal life to lead. Lastly, I welcome one and all. Now we have a formal virtual inauguration.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापं सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
Now we play a small video of World Heart Day as a promotional. This year the theme of being use heart to know the heart. Now we are virtually honoring to all our faculty and honoring to Dr. Cherian physically as well on this World Heart Day. Now we are physically honoring Dr. Cherian. Our associates are there in Chennai in his hospital to honor him. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Rajaratnam. Okay, back.
Good evening, doctors. I am Rajaratnam from Karnataka. On the occasion of World Heart Day, behalf of API Karnataka chapter, CSI Karnataka chapter, ICP Karnataka chapter, we would like to felicitate Dr. K.M. Cherian sir, who is a well-known cardiac surgeon who has always has his feather on anything first. Let it be first cardiac surgery as well as heart transplant. It's my privilege from the Karnataka, not only Karnataka. Dr. K.M. Cherian sir is an India pride. We'll do the Karnataka traditional felicitation. Behalf of CSA chapter, ICP chapter, as well as API chapter, Karnataka. Please sit down, sir. Sorry. Sorry. Just you got what, man? Too heavy. Yes, sir. Karnataka always has the privilege of felicitating you, sir. Thank you so much, doctor. Over to you, sir, for the dais. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, sir, for accepting the felicitation from on behalf of all the organization. Thank you, sir.
It's my privilege. Don't worry. Thank you. Sir, can I-
Now I request Dr. P.S. Shankar, sir, to address the gathering.
Dr. Rath, Dr. Murali Mohan, Dr. Vishwanath, Dr. Maya, Dr. Mahala, Dr. Puneet, Dr. Sangram, Dr. Vikirti, Dr. Muruganathan, Dr. Sirian, Manoria, Dr. Vivek, and Nagaraj colleagues. Today we have assembled here to celebrate the World Heart Day. This will be the first online program for our chairman, Dr. Murali Mohan, after taking charge of the Karnataka APA. I welcome the office bearers of the APA and CSI of our state, and Dr. Cherian and Dr. Manoria. I am happy two of my distinguished students, Dr. Vivek and Nagaraj, are on the panel. Every year on September 29th, we celebrate the World Heart Day, a day dedicated to raising awareness about the cardiovascular health and the importance of the health and healthy lifestyles. The global observation, which was initiated by the World Heart Federation, the theme for this year in the World Heart Day is Use Heart, No Heart, emphasizing the importance of the heart care for the people worldwide. World Heart Day was first celebrated in the year 2000 and has since gained international recognition. Cardiovascular diseases, including heart disease and the stroke, are the leading causes of death worldwide. We have to unite in our efforts to combat heart diseases and create a world where every heartbeat is a healthy one. Let us reflect on our lifestyle choices and consider how we can make a positive impact on our heart health. The lesson is small changes today can lead to a healthier heart tomorrow. Over 20 million persons are dying from cardiovascular diseases worldwide than from any other cause each year. This year, the theme reminds everyone around the world to take care of their hearts. In other words, the campaign focuses on the important step of knowing our heart, first and protecting it by taking better care. Cardiovascular disease is a class of diseases that affect the heart or the blood vessels. It can be caused by a combination of socio-economic, behavioral, and environmental risk factors, including high blood pressure, unhealthy diet, high cholesterol, diabetes, air pollution, obesity, tobacco use, kidney disease, physical inactivity, harmful use of alcohol, and stress. Family history, ethnic background, sex, and age can also affect the person's risk of the cardiovascular disease on which we have no control. There are some important steps to manage and prevent heart diseases, and they include eating healthy and balanced diet, regular exercise, avoidance of tobacco, avoidance of alcohol, management of stress, knowing the numbers such as BP, blood sugar, and blood cholesterol, taking medicines as prescribed, and knowing the warning signs. World Heart Federation, which is located in Geneva, Switzerland, was formed in 1972 as the International Society of Cardiology, which got merged in 1978 with the International Cardiology Federation to form the International Society and the Federation of Cardiology. The name of this body was changed to World Heart Federation in 1998. This is the principal body for the global cardiovascular community and represents more than 200 heart foundations, scientific bodies, and other like bodies spread over 100 countries, including India. World Heart Day was celebrated in 1999 through the joint efforts of the World Health Organization and the World Heart Federation. The key message for the World Heart Day this year is to encourage people to look after themselves, others, and nature as well, putting in coordinated efforts to improve one's own lifestyle and diet and motivating others to do the same can lead to the reduced number of the cardiovascular disease. We have assembled here to listen Dr. Cherian on the journey of the cardiovascular surgery over 5 decades in the country and to hear the panel discussion conducted by my friend Dr. Manoria. I am happy to be part of the inauguration ceremony and wish the program all success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words of wisdom. Dr. Muruganathan is held up in the meeting. He will be joining shortly. Now I request Dr. Murali Mohan, Chairman API, to address the gathering, sir. Kindly unmute, sir. Hey, Murali. And now you can do, sir. Now you can. Okay. Now it's unmute, sir. Unmute. Kindly,
Yes, sir.
please.
Now it's unmuted. Thank you. It gives me great pleasure that the first meeting on this occasion is with the World Heart Day and with an absolute galaxy of stars in cardiology and physical internal medicine being part of this group. May I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. My gratitude, of course, to Professor Sangram Biradar for always carrying through these programs with great alacrity, with absolute precision, and inviting the best speakers to these. My welcome also to the legend of cardiology and cardiac surgery, Professor K.M. Cherian, who has brought about so many advances in this area. We have a galaxy of stars here. We have not yet seen Professor Muruganathan yet, but I'm sure he'll be joining us very soon. Dr. P.S. Shankar, of course, is one of the most legendary figures of medicine in this country and cardiology. And he has a very special affinity for pulmonology, I know, so that brings him even closer to my heart. We have, of course, my dear colleague from Narayan Hridayalaya, Dr. B.K. Mahala. Professor P.C. Rath is another of the legends in this country. And of course, Dr. Manoria, the evergreen Dr. Manoria. I've been seeing him since I was a postgraduate student, and he doesn't seem to have changed at all. He still is exactly the same in his looks, in his enthusiasm for learning and teaching, and his knowledge. And of course, nothing will be complete without thanking my very vibrant and excellent Honorary Secretary of the API Karnataka, Dr. Vishwanath. So welcome you all. This is a very, very important meeting. World Heart Day's theme this year, use heart and know heart. So the first step this year, which we will be taking jointly, API and Karnataka CSI, is to carry through this knowledge, increase the knowledge of doctors and patients and the lay public in increasing their knowledge of the heart and encourage them to use the heart throughout, not just this year, but in all the years to come. Stop at this point. We're eager to hear Professor Cherian and hand back to our host, Professor Sangram Biradar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for kind words of wisdom. Since Dr. Mahala, Chairman CSI, is held up, he will be joining shortly. Now I request our chief guest, Dr. P.C. Ras, sir, for your inaugural address.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for inviting me to be the chief guest in this great occasion. Thankful to the organizers. Sangram specifically called me many times to be here. And a very nice gathering. And on the eve of World Heart Day, my best wishes to all the members and greetings. This World Heart Day, as usual, is celebrated on 29th of September. This year, focus will be you know your heart and more on the cardiology. I want to tell you something different. The cardiology is not going to the same again. It's going to change drastically. It's not going to the same way we practice. So artificial intelligence is the one which is going to change the cardiology as we see. And it already has slowly infiltrated in our practice. With this, you know, a lot of research going on artificial intelligence, all aspects of the cardiac diseases, preventive, the diagnostic, and curative. From the ECG now, it's possible to predict who are the people susceptible to sudden cardiac arrest. So also possible to predict who are the people who can develop later on if so that you can plan. Also possible by simple ECG to detect whether the patient has got myocardial disease. In echo is changing. Like for example, when you ask for a ejection fraction, your decision many times depends on the ejection fraction. You send it to 2 to 3 persons, they'll all give different ejection fraction. But now with artificial intelligence already there in G machine, it's uniform. Artificial intelligence detect ejection fraction which is uniform. That personal variability is not there. In mitral regurgitation, again same. Personal variability will be there, but with artificial intelligence, possible to detect accurately. It's changing the way patient care also. For example, patients with heart failure who are admitted, it can predict who are the patients who are most likely not going to make, they can die. Also, another patient, some patients are in the ICU, and it's possible to predict who are the patients who, after getting transferred to the ward, likely to come back to ICU again. So artificial intelligence is going to change the practice of cardiology in a different way altogether, which we are going to witness in the next decade. And but it also has its limitations, and also it has got, if it is not judiciously used, then it can do also harm. So, in the word of the famous scientist Stephen Hawking, our future is a race between the growing power of technology and the wisdom with which we use it. So, we can use it with great wisdom, then artificial intelligence is going to change the practice of cardiology, help us and help the patient. Thank you, thank you. I am looking forward to Professor Cherian's lecture.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sparing your and to join and address. Now we move on to the scientific session. I request Professor Manoria, sir, to take over for further proceedings. Over to you, Professor Manoria, sir. Kindly unmute, sir. Still not. Yeah, now it's okay.
we have admired Dr. Cherian right from our early days and continue to admire for his wonderful work. He may not be knowing that I am a great fan of his and his work. So I'll request our respected Dr. Cherian to deliver his address. Dr. Cherian, please.
Okay. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, so am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So, good evening to all of you. It's a distinct pleasure and privilege to talk to you. And as you know, I have become an old man. So, whatever I talk may not make much sense because that is too old. Well, now just brief history of major milestones as far as the cardiac surgery is concerned is development of general anesthesia from either to chloroform, surgery of pericardium, and approach to pulmonary embolectomy, the Trendelenburg operation, and heart surgery before the era of CPD. As far as I am concerned, I can never talk about cardiac surgery without mentioning my teacher, my mentor, and my guru. That was Dr. S.R. Ullah. You will be surprised. I was doing my MS in Kasturba Medical College, Mangalore, and I was posted under him because he has just come back from UK and they wanted to start the cardiac surgery. So somebody had to help him. I was doing my general surgery first year MS, as I said, but I was pushed into cardiac surgery by my senior colleagues, associate professor, Dr. Yogesh Pai. And that is how I got into cardiac surgery. But I told Dr. Ullah, I've never done even a circumcision. I've never done even a hernia or a hydrocele, which were very common at that time, especially in Mangalore. So how can I go for cardiac surgery and help him? So Dr. Ullah said, don't worry about it. You come and help me. So I joined Professor Ullah exactly 5 months after I joined for first year MS. And thus I started helping him. And by the time I finished my first year, I had done 4 PDAs, which not even any general surgeon at that time, professor of general surgery had not. I did a couple of coarctations. And I did my first closed mitral valvotomy at that time. That was in 1967. So this is how I started. And I went into this because of compulsion. But they made sure that Professor A.S. Narayanan, Dr. Varghese Chakro, all these people helped me to learn some general surgery. Now, coming to cardiopulmonary bypass, pacemaker, myocardial protection, then valves, and coronary artery surgery, and surgery for heart failure, artificial heart, etc., etc. But here I want to say one thing. You know, in 1967, Rennie Favaloro did the first coronary artery bypass surgery in Cleveland, 67. And we did the first bypass surgery in 1975. So there was a lot of gap. We were not progressing. Whether it was All India Institute was constructed, Vellore has been there for more than 118 years. Bombay has been there, but something was preventing us. And I knew what was preventing us. That was teamwork. We never had. Can you hear? Can you hear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we never had any teamwork. So that was one of the most important things. And a cardiopulmonary bypass was developed. And the principle was developed by Alexis Carrel, as you know. He got a Nobel Prize. Not one, he got two. Now this is the circulation. And this is the heart-lung machine which was used by Walton Lillehei using mother for the correction of the VSD. This is Walton Lillehei, and 99 he passed away. But before that, somehow I was a good friend of him and Kay, his wife, and I was introduced to him by Dr. John Kirkland, with whom I was working. So I requested him, when I was the president of the Association of Cardiothoracic Surgeons, that was in 1991, I requested him, why don't you come to India? He said, no, I won't come. So I said, sir, you should come because you can see Taj Mahal. And I asked, hey, have you seen Taj Mahal? She said, no. Then both of you should come. That is how they came. And it was a wonderful conference. It was attended by all the luminaries in the cardiac surgery. So this is a heart-lung machine. This is a Mayo Clinic heart-lung machine, which was made by Gibbon, and it was improved, perfected, popularized by John Kirk. So I had the opportunity to migrate to Australia first and United States also. This was my first surgery in Australia. It was on September 9th. I remember September 9th mainly because that was my wedding day. So when my boss in Sydney came to know that it is my wedding anniversary, he said you should do an open heart surgery, your first open heart surgery. So they got a pulmonary stenosis, and I could do the pulmonary valvotomy in St. Vincent's Hospital, Sydney. Mind you, I was a migrant during the time of White Australia policy. So this man, of course, I was his trainee, is Dr. John Kirkland. Kirkland and myself, in fact, this was during my send-off from EAV. I also had the opportunity to work with Albert Starr, and he had implanted a ball valve that was in 1960. This Albert Starr, myself, and Professor Sugimura from Nagoya. The other contributing surgeons, of course, everybody know the contributions from Debeki, Yakub, Shammeh, Jitney, Crawford, Cooley, Ross, Cosgrove, all the others. Now, I don't know, somehow I was very lucky that many other people, because I knew Debeki very well, He used to send me a Christmas card almost every year. And of course, Dandan Guri had come to Chennai. And this is a photo taken when he was at home having dinner. And Don Ross, he inaugurated our exclusive pediatric ICU, and that was the first one in India. You can see behind Dr. Rajan is there, K.R. Balakrishnan is there, Suresh Rao is there, Murali is there. So all of them are big surgeons. This is port cardioplegia has brought in myocardial preservation by birth. And this is Favaloro. So Favaloro started coronary bypass surgery, and I think it was, about 171 cases were done when he was in Cleveland Clinic. As I said earlier, 1967, the first coronary bypass surgery was done using a saphenous vein as a conduit. This is our story. This is first bypass surgery in India. We did it in June 1975. Exactly 3 days after I arrived, I came back from Australia. It was in Perambur, Railway Hospital, non-descriptive small hospital. But I had a lot of encouragement from all these people. Dr. Shankaran is no more, but he migrated to US and he died last year. Dr. Prem Kumar is there, but he's too old. Savitri and Mr. Ranganathan. Mr. Ranganathan is also no more. And Dr. Kalyan Singh, probably he is the father of cardiac anesthesia in this country. Now you might laugh. This was my lab. You can see my patients, all dogs. 3 dogs. One was a recipient, one was a donor for heart as well as blood. So this is a paper cutting. That is June 1975. Coronary artery bypass surgery performed at Perambur Railway Hospital. That was the first bypass surgery I wanted to show you. A lot of historical aspects are there. The music was given by, I don't know whether you people remember, M.S. Vishwanathan. M.S. Vishwanathan is the one who gave music for Kadali Kanare Mille, all those. Now this is a pediatric cases. The first pediatric 11 cases which we did in 1975, and I presented it in Delhi. We were using surface cooling to 18 degrees. But by the time the temperature dropped to 28, 29, we do the sternotomy. Rest of the cooling was done on pump. And this is all what we had. This one is ventilator, you can see on the right hand side. And that was a monitor, that was a Hewlett Packard monitor. This is our post-operative setup. And this is one of the babies. I don't know what was the surgery. Anyway, this was our setup. So the paper started writing life suspended during open heart surgery. This is because circulatory arrest. Child must die for 70 minutes. These were all advertisements. Now this is baby Maria. When I told about 1967 when the bypass surgery was done, it took 1975 for us to do a bypass. So there was a lot of gap between the West and us. I'm glad that I have been one of the people responsible for bringing that gap narrower and narrower. This is a sending operation done in 1979 for TGA, ASD, PDA. And egg sending also did the sending operation, in fact, 7 months before us. I heard about it and I met him and talked to him. And I thought we will also do, and we did it. And this was published in Journal of Thoracic. And that was a baby Mariam. 30 years later, she has 2 children. And we started operating on infants, left and right, all complex diseases. Tetralogy was a complex problem. Transposition, nobody will do it. Organ atresia, nobody will do it. Single conductor, nobody wants. So anyway, the youngest child in this group was 9 hours old who had an arterial switch. So we progressed, and this is a child who had a Ross operation. Probably the youngest Ross in the whole world. Now the transplantation came, not much from there. His contributions for transplant. Christian Bernard did the first transplant in South Africa. And we did a pediatric heart transplant. In fact, the donor was an infant by name Tamana. And that infant was from Bangalore. And this happened to be the first interstate pediatric transplant in the world. The recipient was 1 year and 10 months old. Now this is a backward. Okay. This is adult span, 1 year and 10 months. This is after 8 days after heart transplant. And that time, this was the youngest transplant in the country. Now, we also had the opportunity to do 2 transplants in one night. And it happened to be the 3rd transplant in the whole world. First was in Newcastle upon Tyne. The second was University of New York, downstate. The 3rd we did. And we also had the opportunity in 2001. We operated this young fellow who had a heart and lung transplant for his Eisenmenger syndrome. Recently, September 2023, on 23rd, these 3 patients came to see me. This girl, she is again from Bangalore, Reena Raju. She had the first transplant done 9 years ago. Later on, she developed vasculopathy. And she was in bad shape. She was on ventilator, IABP, ECMO, everything. We were waiting for a donor. 3 days later, we got a donor and she had a transplant. Now she's in US, and this is 5 years after the second transplant. Probably that was the second transplant happening. And she's enjoying her life, including she has done a 13,000 feet jump from the aircraft. The other girl, I think she is 18 years old. Yeah. She's one of those girls who had arterial switch done under profound hypothermia circulatory arrest when she was 1 month old. Yeah. Now she is 18 years old. She has joined IIT. And The other man on my left side is Kailas. He is 6 years post heart and lung transplant. And this girl, under circulatory arrest, had a switch. And she's going to join IIT Delhi. What I want to say is that profound hypothermia, circulatory arrest, if things are done properly, nothing happens to the brain. This is another very interesting case, and I don't think anybody has reported it. We have written up. This is 1988. She had a CME done. Her name is Naram Jyoti. Then 1995, she had a OME plus a tricuspid repair. 2005, she had a mitral valve replacement. Her heart became so big after all these. Oh, she had a paravalvular leak on the mitral also. They put a device there. That also did not work. Heart became so big, and she had aortic stenosis incompetence, mitral, previous valve replacement, and tricuspid. We did not have a carpenter ring or anything. In fact, we made a ring in ICF, and we stitched that kind of cloth over that, and that is the ring which we used. And so in 2010, she was in such a bad shape. I explained the whole risk to them, and I said it will be very difficult to do this operation because her heart is occupying more than half of the chest cavity. So I thought it was simple to do an auto transplant. So I excised the heart, kept it in, just one shot of cardioplegia, kept it in a basin with the crushed ice. I always use a continuous stitch for my valves. For so many years, from 75, I have been using only continuous stitch. So she had a triple valve replacement and an auto transplant. There is, we are looking into all the literature. Other cases have been done, that is auto transplant with LV aneurysm rupture, etc. I think there are about 51 cases which are reported on auto transplant. And 4 transplants were done by my good friend Batista. And we have also done 4. Out of that, one is this Naram Jyoti. And you may be able to hear from her. This is, meanwhile, she is just only on 2 milligram acetone and on ecospirin. This is one of the patients who had a transplant, developed coronary artery disease, and we did a stent for her. I don't want to talk about, most important thing is we should have a good team. This is where I think most of the people fail. Bombay had very good surgeons. P.K. Sen was there, Namisha was there, Dastu, Naraji Mehta, Parulkar, Sharad Pandey, so many people I can think. But we had a team. This is Christian Bernard and his wife Karen. This is at home, and I was very close to him. In fact, I used to go to South Africa and go to his farm and do a little bit of hunting because that is one of my hobbies. Now, we have done little tissue engineering work, xenografts, and we have the only xenograft valve bank in the country. Yeah. We have about 36 pigs, about 40 sheep, only for this purpose. And this is our pericardium, porcine pulmonary artery, bovine pericardium, And you can see the wall also, Bhavai Jugular Wing, that has got a wall. Dr. Abdul Kalam, when he visited us, now this is in fact in Kerala, in my village. We are a small hospital. And he was very much interested in seeing these xenographs. We are doing little bit of research. This is a heterotrophic transplant. In fact, that dog has got two hearts, one in the abdomen, one in the normal person. Then we started stem cell therapy. And we have our own all infrastructure for stem cell. Now, with this I don't want to show, because we have about 70 stem cells. Now we have used
Mrs. Tripura Sundari from Nellore, Andhra Pradesh,
Livotronics.
presented to us
That was
in
the
July
first
2011.
LVAD that was available.
With advanced symptoms of heart failure and was diagnosed to have dilated cardiomyopathy with severe LV systolic and diastolic dysfunction.
Anyway, she waited for more than 34 days. Usually the time what is prescribed is 30 days.
நான் நல்லா இருக்கேன். இந்த மிஷன் வச்சதுனால நான் ரொம்ப இம்ப்ரூவ் ஆகிறேன். ஆனா இங்க இருந்து நான்
So she was on this for 34 days. And meanwhile, she got a small stroke. And on 34th day, we had two donors. One was old, we rejected. The other one, their two daughters were also doctors. I don't know what was the reason. They said they don't want those hearts. Anyway, she had a transplant and she did very well. This is the first child who had allogenic, stem cells. And we used the father's bone marrow to separate the stem cells because she was 4 months or 5 months at that time. And we had to have minimum 50 cc of bone marrow. So we used father's bone marrow and we injected it. The child had a viral cardiomyopathy. Now you can see, how she is. I think she has finished her 12th or something. And anyway, she has grown. I think this is, after appearing for her 12th examination. So in conclusion, what I would say is, opportunity comes to everybody. It is not for me alone, everybody. But what is important is to recognize the opportunity. You have to take a lot of risk, lot of guts. If you were a permanent resident with a green card and social security card in the United States, and if you are one of the 4 migrants in Australia, when it was White Australia policy in 1969, nobody would come back. When I was drawing $58,000 driving a sports Ford Mustang red color, I left everything, came back. I didn't have money and it was very difficult for me to buy a second-hand Herald car for 9,000 rupees. But it is not my cleverness or anything, it is destined for me. Otherwise, there was no reason for me to leave $58,000 and come for 1,071 rupees. So once the opportunity is recognized, grip it with both hands hard work, sacrifice, commitment is a must. There is a saying, harder you work, the luckier you get. Of course, above all this, you need a provincial help. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I conveyed something. But I'm too old, so getting too old. In fact, by next March, on March 8th, I will be 82. But still I am working only in the field of research. You should not be operating at this time. That's not right. So thank you for the invitation. God bless you all.
Thank you, respected Professor Cherian.
Pleasure.
Thank you, respected Professor Cherian, for your masterly and mesmerizing presentation during the last 50 years of your experience. I'm sure all of us will enjoy the flashes of expertise during your discourse, and they will always leave an everlasting imprint on all of us. What I'm going to ask you is, what has been your most challenging case in your career of cardiac surgery?
There is no challenging case. What is challenging case? Doing a 10-hour-old arterial switch, is it challenging? What I believe is this, if you can cut, you can switch. That's all. The rest is your determination. Little knowledge, luck. And see, all these things were done without MRI and scan and that and this and all. What was important was convincing the patient's relatives or the patient. Today, yeah, I mean, not today, I mean, but maybe about 3 years ago, a patient was in the ward. And so I said, he has got coronary artery disease, we have to do an angiogram. Now the cardiologist, I'm not blaming any cardiologist. The next morning when I went there, they said they have not done the angiogram because the patient can't extend his knee. So I asked why, no answer. So I went and pulled up the sheet. I told the sister, why nothing was done? So I asked him what happened. You know what he had? He had an infected sebaceous cyst in his popliteal fossa, which means we are not examining. You people may not agree, but that's a different thing. I think what I practice was different. What you practice or is a different way of looking, because scan is there, MRI is there. Now none of us will be necessary because injectable robotics have come. You may not get, the oncology departments will close. These injectable robotics are smaller than your RBC. That will go and, that will be able to find out which cell is dysfunctional. It will destroy it with the laser. So the cancer will go off. Same way, there are a lot of technology. You were talking about AI. Yes, definitely. So many technologies are coming, and I am sure that first people to go out of job will be cardiac surgeons.
So, Dr. Professor Cherian, what message or tips will you like to give to the surgeons of the current era?
Current era,
Past experience.
yes, current era, they should not be only this beating heart 1.5 graft surgeons. They should do proper job. Money, yes, make it. See, what is important is somebody comes to you with angina, you should do a total revascularization. I still believe, maybe because we are all old, I still believe a good 3 grams for right, left, and circumflex system, that's enough. That will look after it. But if you are going to charge for each graft 5 lakhs, 50,000 rupees, then that's a different thing. Why do you need BMW and all? All these Maruti cars are good. After all, what you need is 4 wheels. You might ask me, why do you have? I had it long time back. I had a craze for cars. I don't have. Somebody is driving. I'm sitting in the back seat and sleeping.
Gold will continue to remain gold.
It is not. It is not, yes, as long as your driver is good, you can sleep well.
So, Dr. Sangram, can we have the panel discussion?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Dr. Javadi is there. Dr. Nagaraj Desai sir is there.
Is
Swarth is
there.
there.
Yeah, I can see him. I can see him. How are you, Vivek?
Kindly unmute, sir. Dr. Vivek. Yes. Kindly unmute, sir. Unmute. We are not able to hear you.
Dr. Vivek, yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, there is really nothing much to do panel discussion in this kind of an oration. Just to summarize that the generations of cardiac surgeons who came in practice after Dr. Cherian established cardiac surgery in India in this way, he instilled a certain character in the future generations of cardiac surgeons. To see somebody who could very well settle in the West, sacrificing coming in a hospital like Railway Hospital, it's not simple to fight the bureaucracy and do what he has done. So a lot of surgeons drew inspiration from him, and different four corners of the country, we saw surgeons struggling with the bureaucracy, with the systems, establishing centers. Indian cardiac surgery has come a long way, riding on the shoulders of giants like Dr. Cherian. We have really come a long way, numbers, penetration, quality, and there is no looking back now. Things are going to change a lot with changing genetic engineering. Many diseases, procedures are going to disappear, newer are going to come, robotics and telerobotics, artificial intelligence, self-learning, and doing tremendous strides and accuracy of treatment. And most importantly, the new wave of nanorobotics. The moment we sort out the nano batteries puzzle, the nanorobotic wave is going to change everything and will force us to relearn everything. We may not be known by organs that we treat like cardiology, neurology, neurosurgeon. We may be known by technology. Today's cardiologist puts a stent, coronary, renal, carotid, femoral. He's a center, he's a technologist. Same way, we all may become chip putter, nanorobot pilots, and stuff like that, organ developers. But we must remember where it all started. Cardiac surgery. I was born in 53, first CPB open heart was done at that year. In Dr. Cherian's lifetime, how much changes have happened. And in every major surgical procedures, how technology takes over, goes minimally invasive, goes in the hands of physician. Gastroenterology surgery, cardiac surgery has shown fantastic example. And that has made the whole thing very good for the primary stakeholder, the patient. But the inspiration, sir, that we all have drawn from you will be gratefully ever acknowledged. So thank you very much for this talk, sir. Nagaraj, any comments?
In fact, it is impossible to forget my association with Dr. Cherian simply because he operated upon my cousin who had a triple vessel bypass and LV dysfunction, and quite a few centers in Karnataka had refused surgery for him. Indeed, it is a kind of a sight to see him operating upon. And I always used to tell my cardiology youngsters to observe surgeons, how exactly they prepare the area and how it appears like a bloodless, so clean. many of our groins appear so horrible. So also the risks nowadays when the cardiac interventions are done by cardiologists, in fact. Suffice to say that, if time has come for cardiologists to evolve, so also the cardiac surgeons to evolve. Indeed, the numbers that we see nowadays in the area of cardiac sciences, rapidly things are changing in terms of the balancing of the numbers. Quite a few procedures which used to be offered regularly by cardiac surgeons have become even the bread and butter of cardiologists. And also the technologies that Dr. Vivek was mentioning, and also Dr. Cherian in a graceful manner was referring to, does not absolve the cardiac physician to shying away from the responsibility of taking care of our patients and making sure that he shepherded into the hands of experts who are able to deliver completely. For instance, if a patient requires a technology, the proper technology should be used and appropriately and offered good results on a long term. It looks like a snapshot treatment that is offered often by technologies like cardiologists and cardiac surgeons may not be enough. And indeed, long-term follow-up will have to be passed on to the people who take care of the patients in a very team-based manner, so that, patients do get benefit out of the long-term follow-up of these patients. In other words, we as physicians who are interested in cardiac practices may be offering one-time or a snapshot treatment, but long-term management will have to be kind of a biochemistry-based, pharmaceutical-based, and one should gracefully acknowledge it. Thanks, Professor Cherian. And indeed, you look as sharp and as kind of, powerful, communications. And thanks indeed. We'll be remembering this talk for a long time to come.
Thank you. Thank you.
Manoria.
I think in early 70s, when I was doing my post-graduation in medicine, whenever the issue of bypass surgery used to come, the patient was referred to Dr. Cherian, Perambur Hospital. Still remember, you are doing lots of bypass surgery in the railway hospital, Perambur. Only one name was there.
Yes.
So, Dr. Cherian, how do you look on the future of cardiac transplant in India?
Cardiac transplantation?
India.
Yeah. 1975, September 23rd, we had the opportunity to do a transplant. This is just after the brain death legislation was adopted in the parliament. And since then, maybe I have done about 64. It's a teamwork. As I said, as I emphasize, it is a teamwork. The cardiologist should be there, good cardiac anesthesiologist, good perfusionist, good post-operative care. The whole team should be there. I think as far as Bombay is concerned, that is where they missed out. One might say that PK Sen did, a transplant, or he published, the results of heart transplantation in dogs in 100 cases. That is all good. But I think they all failed in one aspect. There was no teamwork. That was missed. As far as we were concerned in railways, see, I was an ad hoc AMO. My basic salary was 647 rupees. I didn't come here to make money. I came back. In Sydney, everybody knew me because the only red color sports Mustang car was mine. They never knew who is the owner. They will say, oh, that is that Indian doctor. I left all those things. I told you I had difficulty in getting a second-hand Herald car. Because I had some, even today I'm going through all these things. I have got, one of the best cardiac Basic Cardiac Research Center. We are working on CRISPR technology. We are growing zebra fish. We are doing lot of things, but nobody appreciates. Why? There is question of appreciation is there. But when it goes to the bureaucracy, it took 1.5 years for us to get a CPCA permission for a animal ethical committee. Why? What do they know? One of the members of the CPCSA, an old lady, she was asking what sort of water we give for our pigs. Do you think? I said we give tap water. She said, oh, you are giving tap water? So I said, no, madam, I'm sorry. We are giving mineral water. No, that is not acceptable. You should have oro water. So I asked her a question. Do you give oro water your mother, for your children? These are the types of people who are coming as technical experts. I talked about artificial blood in 2015 September. There was a big team. Yeah, they were grilling me. Who did not know anything about a bioreactor. Leave alone, dual chamber bioreactor. They didn't even know about a single chamber bioreactor. That was in 2015 September. You take the Times of India 2022 November 8th. Front page is, you know what? It is artificial blood has been used successfully in Paris. News is from London. I think we were 8 years before them, but unfortunately we could not do it. This is where I appreciate our present PM. Because he has ideas, he wants the things to be, but he can't get it done. We had Niti Ayog. Niti Ayog had sent 7 points to Department of Science and Technology, all sorts of things, including Reserve Bank Governor. They made me almost bankrupt. None of you people will face that. In the end, I said 1991, December 31st, Rennie Favaloro became bankrupt and shot through his heart. So I said, don't expect me to do that. I have got more guts than Favaloro. You have made me bankrupt. That's okay. Because I asked for it. They have not come. I would have been a multi-billionaire. Apollo Hospital, PC Reddy wanted me to join. I said no. Number 2, Friends Colony, that house was shown to me by Mr. H.P. Nanda before escort was started. Why? Our own Chief Minister Jayalalitha offered me 10 acres behind the race course. But I went for a medieval. I wanted to take the whole thing to the villages. We have trained 18 girls in tissue engineering, nanotechnology. And that is my asset. I don't have to be a rich man because I have enjoyed everything in life, whatever way. I have operated at least in 23 countries, including still I am an honorary professor for PLA, People's Liberation Army of China. I'm one of the chief surgeons for PLA in Nanjing Military Hospital. That's all what I need. Nobody is going to ask anything, how much you are going to take when you go up. Nobody will take anything. Nobody. I used to say, if you want to inscribe your name, don't do it on a tombstone. Do it on somebody's heart. People ask me, why are you interested in pediatrics? I told you, this girl, if she becomes an engineer, today I met a girl, she's an architect, young architect, maybe 30, 32-year-old girl from Bombay. There I had an RTD switch about 31 years old. How many people have done RTD switch at that time? It's not that, I'm technically, I had the determination. I kept moving with what is happening. Today also I do. So that is why when people ask me, I always say that I know, physically, technically, it is not right to operate at the age of 82. But nobody stops me from thinking. Nobody stops me from talking. That is my philosophy. Many people won't agree with me. They all say that, you are a madman. Agree? Huh?
Professor Cherian, the last question. What is the secret of your sharp memory even at this age?
That's a good question. I'll tell you. But you have to give me a lot of money for that.
Sure.
I drink 1 glass of bitter gourd juice early morning, empty stomach. Number 2, I drink a glass of aloe vera juice, 1 glass. And after that, I drink a glass of gooseberry juice. That's my secret. My wife died of COVID. I never even used to wear a mask. I believe that all these things give me more immunity. Memory, that is different. I think that is maybe genetic. I don't know, because I took my father to Cause Island, where Hippocrates was born, because my name was being inscribed on a stone in Cause Island. I wanted my father to see it. You know how old was he? He was 95. Will you take your father?
Dr. Sangram?
Yes, sir. We will have one takeaway message from all panelists and close. Dr. Rath, sir?
Yeah, it was a fantastic talk by Professor Cherian. I visited his center long back when Padma Kumar was there, Subhas was there, I met him. Still that dynamism is there, that spirit is there. That is more important. That will inspire all of us. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. Dr. Mahala. Yes,
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank Professor Cherian for sharing his experience. It is truly inspiring. And I will be quoting one statement. It is always said that winners have always a plan, whereas losers always have an excuse. I'm sure Professor Cherian is definitely a winner, and a winner. And thank you for contributing to cardiac surgery in India. It will be truly inspiring for the younger generation. I'm sure this lecture will be a landmark lecture for all the young cardiologists and cardiac surgeons. So thank you very much for joining this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Dr. Vivek Javadi, your comments, takeaway message. Unmute.
Takeaway message is learn to struggle from the example of Dr. Cherian and never give up. And this is what happens. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Dr. Desai, sir, your comments, final comment.
Yeah, indeed, the unlearning the bad habits of the past, learning new things as they're appearing in the horizon, anticipate the changes that are going to occur in the next future are the ones which were enunciated by Dr. Cherian. And indeed, that's a good education for all of us. Remember that opportunities are always coming as hard work to all of us. Thank you so much.
Lastly, Dr. Manoria, sir, your final comments.
It was indeed great pleasure to witness the mesmerizing results of complex surgery right from infancy to elderly population. So we really enjoyed it, Dr. Cherian. It has created an everlasting imprint on my mind. Thank you very much, Dr. Cherian.
So
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So
Thank you.
lastly, I request Dr. Vishwanath to convey a vote of thanks.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, all. As all said, it was a very truly inspiring lecture, sir. My words may fail to express our deep gratitude, sincere gratitude to Dr. Cherian, sir. Sir, thank you so much. Probably listening to a legend for the first time, and we were all quite surprised. You unfolded the entire your experience and probably the whole cardiac surgery experience of our country through your inspiring lecture. I immensely thank you for that. I also thank Dr. Vivek Javadi sir and Dr. Nagaraj Desai sir, Dr. P.C. Manoria sir for all the good panel discussion and helping us throughout. Of course, great thanks to Dr. Biradar sir to getting all of us, JPA, CSI together and made us listen to this inspiring lecture. Thank you one and all, and thanks all the delegate who all over the country who have joined us. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Cherian, sir, anything you want to convey?
No, I just wanted to thank all of you for your kindness and the gesture you have shown to me by honoring, etc., etc., etc. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
May God bless you all.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
night.
Thank you. Thank you, one and all, sir. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, one and all. We'll sign out.
And